I'm here today with the legendary Jamey Jasta of Hatebreed, not to talk about Hatebreed, but to talk about Milwaukee Metal Fest happening Friday, May 26th to Sunday, May 28th. How are you doing?
Great, man. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for taking the time and coming on the channel to talk about this metal festival that you're bringing back to life after so many years, after a very long hiatus. And let me start off by asking you that the original festival ran from 87 to 2004. What drove you? What inspired you to resurrect this phoenix?
Yeah, I got the idea ahead of doing a podcast with Trevor from the Black Dahlia murder. May he rest in peace. And I said to my producer at the time, like, hey, I'm gonna pitch this to Trevor and see. It's a wild idea because the festival's been defunct since like 2006, 2007. But if anybody could curate it and really know what they're doing, it would be Trevor. And he said, okay, but we'll have to hold it. We'll have to hold the episode back because, what if you don't get the rights? And what if someone else hears it and gets the idea and goes and contacts the previous owners? And so we recorded the episode and then we just held on to it forever. And then I actually got a hold of Jack and got the rights to the festival. And I had been texting Trevor like, hey, it's a done deal. I'm gonna put it out. I really can't wait to do this. I want you to curate it. And then I stopped hearing back from him. And I knew something was wrong. And unfortunately, he took his own life. And I thought, well, there's gotta be a way that we can still do this and honor his memory, but also, maybe create the next Black Dahlia murder or create the next Lamb of God. There's got to be a way we can pull the positive out of the negative. And luckily everybody got behind the entire team, myself included, like just sound talent, the folks at the rave. And then the big piece of the puzzle was actually getting Black Dahlia murder to play. And as we were planning it, it just so happened to be that not only were they down to do it, and they were coming back with Brian on vocals, but then they were going to be in Minnesota, ending their tour the night before. So it even routed perfectly. And now, we're just a few weeks away, and we sold thousands and thousands of tickets, and people are excited. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
When it comes to metal festivals in the US, is this a case of if you build it, they will come?
I hope so. I mean, I always expected to take a little bit of a loss and to just kind of find my way, because again, without Trevor being able to help curate it, I didn't know exactly what we were going to get into. And with the mandates not being lifted yet, I knew it was going to be very challenging to get European acts and South American acts and acts from Australia and Canada. And so that I thought, well, if I have to take a little bit of loss this year, I'm in it for the long haul, and I want to create a great experience and create a community around the festival like it had way back in the day. But it just so happened that we lucked out with alumni of the previous festivals, whether it's Macabre or Jungle Rot or Broken Hope, or even like bands like Obituary and Shadows Fall and Lamb of God, who played it as Burn the Priest. It was one of their first like big shows when they were coming up. And we really, I was surprised. Like once the first wave went out, it got a really good reaction. We had really good sales out of the gate. And then we had a lot of bands that wanted to get on the bill. And we had over 470 submissions, I think it was. So the fact that we could only land on about 75, I thought, all right, well, there's going to be a lot of like, hey, we can't make it happen this year, but next year, definitely. And I'm already planning 2024. We just broke the threshold to make it so that we can do 2024. We sold enough tickets so far. So yeah, I think it does have that feeling of like, all right, it's not a slam dunk, it's not an absolute home run, but it's enough where I feel like there's a lot of potential. And I don't know if it means more stages, less stages, more band, more international bands, but I'm open to it all. I'm open to all the as long as it's constructive and it's based in reality, I'm open to all the criticism.
Are you a genius or a madman in the current scenario that we're living in, with tours being canceled, merch cuts being on the table, all of these things that are really hurting the metal scene and the metal world and extreme metal music, touring, all of this stuff, and you go ahead and you try to bring this festival back to life. You succeeded in doing so. Which one are you? Just a pure genius that can see through all the muck, or just a complete madman?
I think most likely a madman, or even a little bit of a fool. But I think that I think that everyone understands it's the first year back, and they know I'm willing to take a loss, and they know that there's not a lot of people out there that are willing to take a loss and take that type of risk, and they know that my intentions are good. I do want to create the headliners of tomorrow. I don't think I would be in the position that I'm in, not only to be able to kind of like afford a little bit of a loss, but also just with different bands and a label and a promotion company and the podcast and the different endeavors I have going on right now. Whatever favors people do, or whatever, I guess, solids people do me, I always want to return it. I really do. And there's some bands they're really doing us a solid this year. And I'll never forget that, because this is really challenging. And so many people are working around the clock to have this go off and be pro, whether it's the caterers, the production people, the staff at the rave. There's so many moving parts. And so, yeah, they're probably looking at me like, oh, he's a madman, or he's a little bit of a fool. But I'm happy to try to build something. And again, like going back to what I was saying earlier, if the criticisms are based in reality and they're constructive, I'm all for it. If people are like, hey, don't do it Memorial Day weekend, I go fishing or I go to the lake, they're like, you're a fool. I would have bought a ticket if you didn't do it more Memorial Day weekend. Then yeah, if you get a couple hundred of those in the email box or on your Twitter, and you go, yeah, okay, maybe there's something to be said here. But yeah, I think that would probably be the first thing that we change next year. But all in all, I'm really happy. And like you said, with festivals getting canceled, and with tours getting canceled, and with all the various different online arguments about all sorts of aspects of the music industry, I'm just happy that we have a really great group of people that are supportive, because the festival is nothing without the bands. It really is all about the bands, and I'm going to be there to see these bands, and I love all these bands. So it's like, I just want to do right by them as much as I can, but also, yeah, you don't want to set yourself so far back that you can't do it, the following year. But it's looking like we are going to do it the following year. So
Did you have any sleepless nights when you were going through this whole process? I know you said that you were willing to take a loss, but it always comes down to how big of a loss is that going to be. So did you have some sleepless nights?
yeah. And not just because, at the end of the day, like money, you can make it back, but I feel like for the most part, the festival it's like legendary and infamous for all these various different reasons. And I want it to continue to be legendary and infamous, but for good reasons. And that's the crazy thing about metal, is like we're always, and hardcore and punk rock and death metal, we're always looked at as like these kind of second class citizens of the music world. And really, these are some of the most talented, intellectual, creative, inspiring people, and they don't get the credit they deserve. They don't get the the riches and the fame and the fortune that they deserve. And some of it is by choice. And I totally respect that. You know, like this festival always had road dogs and people that were like, hey, I'm not in it for the money. I'm not in it for the fame. I'm not in it for the, you know, the houses and the cars and all that stuff. But there are bands that played the festival that went on to do huge things. And that was because of not only just the fans, but because of the people who put the time and the effort in, to make sure that this was a fun experience for the people who were coming and the bands that were playing. And some of the stories, and we'll document all this in this film that we're making right now. It's going to be a documentary all about the Milwaukee Metal Fest, and that was part of the buyout. Like when I purchased the rights, it was part of that was like, we have to do a documentary, warts and all, of all the craziness that went down. So that's kind of, that's played into having some of the doubts, but because, you know, you don't want anybody's livelihood to be ruined. You want to tell the right story. You want to tell the story how it needs to be told, but a lot of people don't want certain areas of the of that story told, and I get it. So yeah, it's a lot of diplomacy, it's a lot of back and forth, it's a lot of collaborative efforts, a lot of team efforts, but it's rewarding at the end. Like I feel like I've gotten closer with a lot of people and reconnected with a lot of people that I hadn't seen or hadn't talked to in a long time, who were also really psyched for this and really supportive of the fest. But yeah, I mean, there's some originally, like not getting Overkill and not getting Exhorter and not getting Dismember. Yeah, that did keep me up. And I was like, how do we not have Overkill? Like we need Overkill. And then the real kicker, the real kick to the balls was that the festival they chose to do in England, that got canceled. And so then they were available. And we were like, what? But we're already way over budget by that point. So now it's like, yeah, we'll have to do 2024, hopefully.
Well, now at least there's that to look forward to as far as the next year's festival is concerned. Let's talk a little bit about the ticket sales and the venue itself. For those coming from out of town, for those not familiar, what kind of amenities, what kind of venue will be there for those fans walking in on that first day?
Yeah, we have 3 stages. We're gonna have food trucks. We're gonna do the vendors in the basement like we did in the old days, which was fun. And we actually still have slots if anyone wants to see this. You know, anybody wants to come, just hit up Milwaukee Metal Fest at Gmail. But we lucked out with the sponsors. You know, Indie Merch Store, I did not expect to be even available like Memorial Day weekend, and they're coming out and they're going to have the huge tent. And I'm urging people to get there early to see the early bands, because we have re-entry until 6 p.m., which I know is super important to people. And I was really happy that we were able to work that out with both the insurance company and the venue and the venue staff and venue management, because a lot of festivals, if there isn't camping, there's just, you know, there's no re-entry, or if there is, it is limited, right? I know everyone kind of differs with that, but I knew, like, say for instance, Decibel Festival, they have a later door time, and I'm just estimating, I think it's like 4, and bands go till 11 or 12, so it's a shorter period of time. But I was told there was no re-entry. So with this, we thought, yeah, if we're opening at 2, let's have re-entry for the first 4 hours. But so you can put your merch back in the car if you want to, you know, especially if you go into the basement and you want to meet one of the bands and you want to wait in line. We wanted to make sure that fans were going to be able to do that. But we will also have a coat check. We'll have things like swag bags and shopping bags, and the venue also has a restaurant and has food too. So I don't see us having some of the issues of like running out of booze or running out of beer or running out of food. I think we'll be okay. But again, it's the first year back, so we're asking for like a little bit of a grace period, but we'll see. We're working on it.
Everybody has to give you guys a little bit of leeway. I see that at festivals all the time. People go to those lineups to get a poster signed, and then they have to hold on to that poster for the rest of the day, which sucks. By the end of the day, that poster is not a poster anymore. It's just like a flyer at that point. It's just completely ripped to shreds, and all the signatures are smudged, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, and it's funny you brought that up because that's come up on 2 different calls where I said, well, hey, we could, we got on a call with a manufacturer who was going to give us a deal on poster tubes. And it was like, wow, it's another, $1,000 in just poster tubes. Do you want, who's going to absorb that cost? Does the fan want to absorb that cost? And I'm thinking, yeah, you know what? If I was waiting in line for Lamb of God to sign my poster, I think I am going to pay $2 for the poster tube because I don't want it to get moshed. But yeah, all these different little things, these conversations that I've been involved in, it's just a learning experience. And it's something that I'll probably take into the VIPs, for the future Haypre tours and future Jasta shows. Like I just did a Jasta and Friends show back in October in Orlando, and that was kind of the litmus test for what we're going to do here. Obviously, we stepped it up with Paul from Slayer coming in to do Slayer songs. But I did think about a lot of those different variables, like how can you create just a more fun, more rewarding experience for the concert goer. And because I'm one too, I think about going and like, okay, where's the sight lines? Where's the PA? What's the lights? And believe me, if I had the budget of like a Hellfest or a Vakken, yeah, I'd have, ice sculptures and a Dio's dragon, I would rent the Dio, I would have all that stuff. But again, this is the first year back, we had to be conservative to a certain extent, but I think it's going to be okay.
The tickets, let me say, for those watching our chat that are not aware, there's on the, is it Thursday? Yeah, the Thursday, you guys are having that pre-party, the Jasta pre-party on the Thursday. Then you have Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday is a 3-day festival, but technically you can look at it as a 4 nights of great music, great activities. I checked out, all the tickets are on the website. I'm going to put all the links in the description of this video so folks can hit it up and pick up those tickets. All the information is on the website. The website really outlines everything extremely well. Are the tickets, before we go into the lineup, because I want to get your take on all 3 days, but how are the ticket sales meeting your expectations coming in at this point?
Yeah, and we always thought if we sell more, we'll go into, we'll move the merch outside and we'll go into and into the hallway in some places, and we'll go into the rave too. But I actually think having some of these bands play in the rave bar, it creates the urgency to get in there before we're at capacity. And I think from a artist standpoint, from a band standpoint, I would rather play to a packed, 300-400 capacity room than an empty 1,500 capacity room. But yeah, it's something we're gonna have to kind of like gauge and learn from. So the rave itself, where say Napalm Death will play, is 2,200 cap or 2,500 cap. There won't be a capacity issue there yet, unless we walk up like a ton. But upstairs, we can absolutely fit, upwards of 5,000. So if you really want to think about it, depending on the clashing, because the clashing is always something you want to think about too. We're only having maybe a 5-minute clash. So if someone wants to get upstairs and get right to the front to watch Dark Angel, but they're just finishing Napalm Death, they might miss, I don't know, 5 minutes of Napalm Death. But when they go upstairs, we're not going to have a capacity issue. I say this now. If we do end up between now and the fest, sell, say, another, 2,000 tickets each night, then yeah, we might have to move Napalm Death up to the main stage. But in the past, all different sized bands would play on that rave stage, whether it was Emperor or Mayhem, bands that could have easily played upstairs in the Eagles, is what I'm saying. But yeah, the bigger bands in the past, like Slayer or Biohazard, they would play in the Eagles. And we're doing that. But I don't really, if we opened up all the rooms, I think we could fit like 12,000 or 10,000 So, and I don't think we're going to do that, just strictly based off of the other festivals in the country that weekend and Sonic Temples that weekend in Ohio. So, but right now, if we end up doing between 6 and 8,000 um throughout the weekend, which we're trending at a rate to do, I think we'll be good. I
Is
don't
that
want to
your
jinx
goal?
it.
Is that your bar? Like if you reach that number, you feel like you're comfortable?
Yeah, I always felt I said this from the beginning. Like I always felt like 1,800 a day is reasonable. Like I really felt like between 1,800 and then maybe like 2,500 on the Lamb of God day because it's Lamb of God and Machine Head. And the halo effect. The halo effect was a big part of our initial pitch of like who we could get that people haven't seen yet. But you tell me on Memorial Day weekend, a lot of people they do other things, and in the past, I knew a lot of people that would go to Maryland Death Fest. It's not happening this year, but they're doing something else for 2 days called Hell in the Harbor, which got a bunch of the bands that we wanted to get, but we ended up getting a bunch of them anyway. So we got Goat Whore, we got Dying Fetus, we got Misery Index, but I know it's thousands of miles away, but there are people that travel pretty far to these festivals.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about day one. I was looking through the lineup, and I'm not quite sure. Is Biohazard still on the lineup?
Yeah, we were initially thinking like, man, if these old ad mats keep circulating, will people be confused? And I think we were right. Yeah, we're trying to get another press release out, just letting everybody know, because yeah, a lot of the old links still have, and even the rave site, we told them to fix it. Hopefully they're going to fix it. They still have Dark Angel headlining, but Biohazard is going to close the Eagle stage.
All right, so you got Biohazard. I'm just going to mention a few because there's a lot of bands, but the ones that really piqued my attention was Biohazard, Napalm Death, Dark Angel, COC, and Crowbar. Which one of these? I know I'm going to put you on the spot, but which one of these has you the most hyped that you're really like excited to see perform?
I it, all of them really. I mean, I think most hyped, if I really had to, I would say Biohazard, just because they're such a major part of my childhood. But I'm really psyched to hear these Crowbar songs I haven't heard played live. 30th anniversary of Crowbar, and Gene Hoglan. I'm so excited to see Gene and Dark Angel. Gene was one of the first people to be super supportive of this idea and really give me the confidence that I could be handed this torch to lead the charge for Milwaukee Metal Fest. I've always said, Milwaukee's the best show of the tour. And I know there's a little a friendly rivalry between Chicago and Milwaukee. They're both the best shows of the tour. And the way the business is now, it's like you can't do them around the same time because there's radius clauses. And we dealt with that. There were bands that were like, hey, we already have a Chicago show booked. But the fact that these bands are doing Milwaukee and they're doing the festival, COC, Goat Whore, I mean, there's just so many. I feel like it's like 12 headliners each night. So yeah, it's hard to narrow it down to just one being so hyped for, because there's those other ones that you go and you look at the ad mat, you go look at the poster and you go, wow, I forgot this band was even playing. Like Raven, who's still killing it. John Gallagher's voice still sounds amazing. Like I'm so hyped to see Raven with Mike Heller playing drums. Mike doing triple duty, Fear Factory, Malignancy, and Raven on Saturday. I'm really hyped for that. But also like the bands that could be the headliners of tomorrow, that I hope when we maybe next year, yeah, we would put Frozen Soul main stage high up, Undeath, Gate Creeper, Sanguisugabog is blowing up right now. I'm hyped for them on the Sunday. So yeah, it's hard to choose, but I'm really confident that there's going to be like breakout, amazing sets.
Yeah, I mean Biohazard. There's obviously a lot of interest right now because they're coming back. So they're a band that really impacted my teenage years. So to see them coming back and to see them headline that first day, I mean, that sends the message right then and there that you guys are serious about business. But then you look at day two and you got Anthrax, Suicidal Tendencies, the Black Dahlia Murder, who I just saw a week ago in Toronto, doing their own headlining tour. You got Obituary, Fear Factory. I mean, that second day is as stacked as the first day, so there's really no breaks. Not like you can take a like a rest on day two, because day two it's crazy. I know you said already you're excited to see the Black Dahlia Murder. They killed it here in Toronto during that headlining tour that they're on. The merch lineup for them was around the corner in the venue. I've never seen anything like that in my entire life of going to shows. How excited is to see those guys continue the legacy of the band?
That's another one that I'm like, it's just amazing that it worked out, that and it routed in, and they literally just have to come right from Minnesota. Yeah, I'm really psyched, and I'm happy for them. I think I think more bands need to, look to Black Dahlia Murder for inspiration, and try to find a silver lining. It's inspiring. Like, no matter what happens, you should push on. A lot of people might not let that happen. They might just get too depressed or too down and out and say, we can't do this, but you can, and they're proving that they can. And I love that. And it's not to take anything away from Trevor or anything that he did, but it's like, it just really shows the spirit of being a band. The band is not one person. It's a group of people creating something magical and creating a vibe. And that's why I love the fans are supporting it. Because, and I thought about this the other night because I had William Duvall on my show, and he filled big shoes, and I know it's similar in a sense where Lane, it was a slower, more drawn out tragedy, whereas with Trevor it was really abrupt and really shocking and really out of left field. But Black Dahlia gives people just this stoked feeling, and if Brian can grab that mic and deliver those words and those songs with the same energy and intensity as he's been doing, the fans are the ones who decide. Whereas with William, there's still people that they just won't accept it. And I don't know if that's maybe because metal and death metal is different from rock or grunge or what you want to call it, or if people just held Lane in a different regard. But I love that they both did it. They both decided, you know what? The music and the words are bigger than just one person, and the legacy should live on. The feeling that it gives those people shouldn't just end because one person's not with us any longer. And I saw that when I played with Alice in Chains in Europe, where people sang every word. It was hit after hit after hit. And I love now seeing the clips with Black Dahlia with the crowd going crazy, everybody surfing over the barricade, everybody, like you said, lined up to get the t-shirts. And I think Trevor would be really happy about that.
And actually, I wasn't planning on asking you this question, but I want to ask you this question because I had this conversation with my son. We recorded an episode of our show, and in the topic was about Black Dahlia Murder and Power Trip. These bands continue the legacy as they move forward after the tragedies that they were faced. And when we started the conversation, I was of the mindset that they should have continued with a different name, and he was of the mindset that they should continue with the same name as long as that's the decision of the band. The band calls the shots, not the fans, not anybody else. The band. My 18-year-old son convinced me that I was wrong. By the end of the conversation, I was like, dude, you're right. I'm an idiot. You're right. What's your take?
Yeah, I think it's the decision of the band. There's certain bands that obviously they would need help, like you can't say if Rob Zombie, you can't call it Rob Zombie, but it is a band, right? It's not just a one guy up there.
Alice Cooper's the same,
Right. But if Alice said prior, like, hey, I want the Alice Cooper legacy and music and words to live on. I'm going to let someone else wear the same get up and paint their eyes, and they're going to be Alice Cooper because it's a persona. Then I might not go see it. But if the guy's got pipes or the girl's got pipes and they're out there and they're doing all the hits, and one day I see a ticket sale go on and I'm like, man, I kind of want to hear Schools Out. I kind of want to hear Poison. I kind of, like maybe I would go. I don't know. But yeah, I think that keeping the name is just better for the fan recognition, because when you change the name, unless you're like Heaven and Hell, where people go, hey, what is that? Like, I knew a lot of people are like, what's Heaven and Hell? But then they're like, well, they're headlining over all these other bands. They got to be somebody we know. And then they Google it and they go, oh, it's Tony Iommi and Dio. There's like brand recognition there because it's also the name of an album. I get both sides. Like if John Joseph and Mackie toured right now as, Age of Quarrel, I would go, okay, I know who that is. But yeah, I guess it depends on the band. It depends on the member who's passing on. But yeah, for the most part, I would suggest go on with the name.
Yeah, my son said if the guitar player passed away or the bass player passed away, the band would have no issues replacing that band member and going on with the same name. So his whole point was, why should the singer be any different? And I mean, he put a very good case forward. Like I said, he completely changed my mind by the end of the conversation. And based on what I saw in Toronto, fans are all on board. So everybody's loving it. And I think that to me is the most important thing.
Yeah, no, and I agree. And listen, if the estate benefits or people, I guess it would also matter if so and so had children, or if they're set up as some sort of a corporate entity where there's a board, like with KK Downing, he sits on the board, or he sat on the board of the Judas Priest Corporation or whatever. Obviously, they went on without him and they still call it Judas Priest, but he has his thing, KK's Priest. Every situation's different, and I'll go see both. I'll go see Judas Priest. I'll go see KK's Priest. Yeah, but at the end of the day, it is up to the fans if they want to. It sounds very like stock market-ish. Like the market decides, but the market does decide.
I agree with you. So day 3, you got Lamb of God, Machine Head, After the Burial. I think the biggest, I shouldn't say the biggest name, but for me, the one that really paused was the Halo Effect, because everybody knows who the Halo Effect is. I mean, this band is insane in terms of talent. I mean, it's almost a super group if you want to really call it that way. They're going to be touring in North America, but almost nobody's seen them on this side of the pond. I know they're playing at Prague Power as well, but I believe you guys are probably going to be they're playing a few shows before they play at Milwaukee Metal Fest, but it kind of all ties in with Milwaukee. I don't think if it was for you guys, they would be playing anywhere in North America. So how excited it is to get a band like that on day 3?
Yeah, that was a huge, huge get for us. It was something that I put on the original vision board. I had little notes like, don't forget, don't forget. And I'm so happy. I really have to thank the Halo Effect, their management, their booking agent, because they really put together that run quickly to make it financially feasible for them to do it. And that's a lot of work. And I get it. And it's a lot of work at a time when where the market is saturated and they're out there, trying to get those holds, first hold, second hold on these venues. And a lot of other tours were trying to get those holds as well. So that was huge. And I absolutely cannot wait to see them. They're all such great guys. It's really one of the most exciting bands of the last like 5-10 years. It was one of those bands where the first single comes out and it just clicks. People go, wow, this is what I wanted. And I love that. I love when a record comes out and it crosses all the subgenres, and you got people who like hardcore like it, people who like death metal like it, people who like power metal like it. They're one of those unique groups like that.
I had Jasper on the channel around the time of the release of the album, And he said that the whole thing, because a lot of people were talking about In Flames, and there was all that conversation leading up to it. He's like, no, everything was just very organic. We're all friends, and we're all hanging out, and we just made some music. I mean, that whole Swedish scene is outstanding, and all of these guys played a huge role in that scene being what it currently is. So kudos to you for making this happen, because I'm gonna get to see them in Toronto, and I don't think I would be seeing them without you. So
Oh,
thank
nice.
you.
Awesome. No, I'm glad to hear. Yeah, and they're actually playing by me too. And I love that they grabbed On Earth and High Command. I thought that was a great choice for a support act. High Command is one of those ones that, we think they could be one of the future headliners down the road if the stars align, and we want to showcase bands like that. So, and On Earth is having a real resurgence right now on the strength of a great record. And Century Media, they've just been on a tear between Lorna Shore and now, getting bands like Jesus Piece, who we really want to try to get on 2024, but also Frozen Soul, Sanguisugabogg, obviously Napalm Death,
Forced as well.
yeah, and some of the classic bands that they've taken up, like Voivod. We would absolutely want Voivod for 2024, but that was brought to our attention early on when we started talking to the sponsors, like, wow, there's too many bands that we want. So we were really happy with Century. We were able to get a bunch of their roster, and it just so happens now that we've added November's Doom to the Friday, and we're adding a Brian Slagle signing on Saturday, a book signing, which is going to be a lot of fun. His new book is coming out May 9th, and Metal Blade is one of our sponsors too. So I grew up listening to records on all these record labels. So the fact that they want to be supportive of the fest, these are labels that I submitted my band to as well. So the fact that they're coming in to sponsor the show has been a huge help as well.
$1 million question: how come no Hatebreed on the lineup?
I just don't think I can do it. I just don't think I can do both. I thought, yeah, would that be a little suspect just to right out of the gate the first year back? Like, but 2024, it's possible. We'll see. Already just my voice is rough just from having to talk on the phone all day. So I've been feeling it, really, like all the different calls, all the different things that going into this, from, like I was saying earlier, the catering, the insurance, the venue team. It's a lot. I never realized how much it was going to be.
I had one last question for you, but you already answered. My last question was, is it going to come back next year? I already know it will come back next year. So I'm happy to see that you guys reached the level of success that you needed in order to continue this and not just make it a one night stand, if you will.
Yeah, no, I really can't thank everybody enough. We're lucky. I always said, I kept my expectations low because, again, I'm just a band dude. I don't know my ass from my elbow on a lot of different stuff, but I know that the memories and the legacy that this festival has is it holds a special place in so many people's hearts. So yeah, again, this is like the grace period of, like, can we figure this out? Can we get it right? And then anything we don't get right, we try to do better in 2024. But hitting that threshold already was huge, because now we can say, all right, like I had Craig from Forbidden on my podcast the other day, and I've been trying to get Forbidden for a long time, and he's up to it. He's like, yeah, we're coming back. Forbidden is reborn. And so once those pieces start to fall together, and we have further notice, because we'll have a year to do it. Like, we didn't have a year to do it. Mm-hmm. With this, we only had like 5-6 months. So now, and then again, the mandates being lifted is huge. And I respect anybody's choice. I totally respect that. I know that was more of a hotbed issue, maybe where you were, just because I did have a lot of people from Canada saying, hey, what the fuck? Why I can't get in? But they can now.
Yeah, there's no issue.
So yeah, and so I think that's, you know, we don't have to have that debate, but if people want to know like why certain big black metal bands were booked, it's like, look, man, you want these guys to be outlaws, you want to believe these guys are outlaws, or these guys are, you know, thinking a different way, or not, you know, not believing the official narrative. Well, they're being true to that, and they can't get in the country. So like, it's not my fault. I tried my best, but I'll try better. I'll try more for 2024. But you know, getting revenge was a big one, and they're going to get in. And yeah, did I want more black metal? Yes. Did I want more grindcore? Yes. Did I want more hardcore? Yes. But we got Terror and Dying Wish. We got Napalm Death, Revenge, Goat Whore, Putrid Pile, Deeds of Flesh. I mean, sometimes also you got to not believe the internet, because the internet will gaslight you. The internet will go, you know, the internet will look at a bill and they'll go, there's no death metal on it. And you're like, wait a second. There's Deeds of Flesh, there's Broken Hope, there's Gate Creeper, there's Cephalic Carnage, there's Future. I can name 40 death metal bands, but they will sit there and they'll keep, and you go, okay, I'm being trolled. So yeah.
Well, Jamey, thank you very much for the time today. I want to finish this conversation by saying I've been in a lot of mosh pits. I've never feared for my life as much as being on a Hatebreed mosh pit at the Heavy Montreal show that you guys played in 2019. I honestly, there's a picture of me with a smile on my face. I don't know if the smile is me shitting myself with fear or is me enjoying myself as my last moments on earth. I'm still not quite sure which one is which, but to share that moment with you guys on stage with my son at the time was 16. It's a moment that will forever bond father and son for as long as I live. We talk about it to today. That's how impactful that show from you guys was for us as a family, as a father and son. So I just wanted to finish
that's
the conversation
awesome.
on that note and let you know that what you guys do on stage does matter for us that are there to watch the show. So thank you very much for taking the time.
Oh, my pleasure. No, I love that. I always say the family that slays together stays together. So that's great. I love that.
Yeah, we
No,
definitely
that's
do that. We
awesome.
definitely do that. And that show became such a huge part of our relationship because it was just insanity. The two of us like really bonded. Not that we didn't have a bond before, but we had never gone through that experience together. So that was something completely that transcended us. And you guys will forever be on our lexicon based on that one performance. We were fans from before, but that one day like really cemented what Hatebreed means in my house for the two of us.
Oh, that's awesome. No, and I hope we create memories like that this year at Milwaukee Metal Fest. I think we will. You know, we're starting to get a lot of feedback. People even saying that they're coming with their grandparents, which is
Wow.
amazing. So that's really cool too. And we've seen that at Ozfest and Warped Tour and Mayhem Fest. And I know that this is a different style of festival, but if that's the case, that will be killer, because some of these bands, you know, they span all different generations as far as audience goes, and I love that. I think we need more of that right now. We need more just bonding through music. It's great. I love it. Especially I like it when, you know, they don't get along and they're like, oh, my dad likes this band and I'm only here, you know, but I like this one who's playing on this stage over here. That's hilarious to me.
Yeah, there was a lot of negotiating between the two of us when it comes to festivals on who we're going to see. Because at the end of the day, we still want to see it together. Because I think that's the cool thing, is to share those memories together. Because at the end, you know, when you reach the twilight years of your life and you look back, that's really what you got left, is those bonding moments with your family, the people you love, the people that surround you.
Agreed.
All right, Jamey, thank you very much for your time, and this was a pleasure. Best of luck with the festival. I hope it goes tremendously well, tremendously successful, and we'll be talking again for 2024 when the time comes.
Awesome. Yeah, much appreciated. Thank you so much.
Take care, man. All the best.
Take care.